Good afternoon. How is everybody doing? For those of you, if this is your first time on my page, my name is Renata Joy, and I help motivated investors take the money that they've earned and create more revenue. Now, just saying that, I wasn't always able to say that. You see, I've been known to be the jack of all trades, but still the master of none. I mean, I used to give myself a badge of honor that people would come to me and they say, how do you do this? And how do you do that? And can I tell you, I was being irresponsible because I was hitting up the Google machine, which means I couldn't tell them the sequence. I couldn't give them their coursework. I couldn't help them if they got stuck. And more importantly, they were confused why they were coming to me. And can I say, I was confused as to what to offer to them. So I realized I needed to get help. If I wanted to work smarter and not harder, I needed somebody that could actually show me how to do this. And so tonight, I want to introduce to you my business coach, Dr. Nicole Roberts Jones, in case any of you are stuck in the same area. But before I bring her on, I want to know who's here. Tell me your name. Tell us where you're from. And if you've gotten any value, if you like anything that she's saying, because you're going to resonate with her, make sure you leave that in the comments. And the last thing I want to say is hang tight, hang to the very end, and wait and see what we have to offer to you. So join me in welcoming my business coach, Dr. Nicole Roberts Jones. Hey,
Yay! Excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Always excited to be with you, Renata.
same here. So let's jump right in. So, right now, we're living in some unprecedented times. You know, there's the great resignation, and I want to hear from you. What would you say to somebody who's trying to figure out how to start and grow their business and really stand in their gift?
So I think the number one reason people are really going after, well, people are saying yes to the great resignation is because they realize they lack meaning and fulfillment in their work. And if I tell really quick, because everything I do is based on my own journey. I'm not someone that talks a talk. I'm someone that lived it, loved it, realized, oh my God, some other people need it. And then I created a strategy around it and I teach other people. So for me, it wasn't in the height of great resignation, but I had the job that I dreamed ever since I was 7 years old when I got to the point where I knew there was something more for me. And I believe so many people are going through that moment where they realize, okay, I'm out because they're looking for meaning, they realize there's more, or the current job they have just is no longer big enough for their gift, which all three of those is where I was. And this was back in 1993. So, and to be honest with you, it was September 19th, 1993. So 2 days ago, I just celebrated my 29th anniversary of saying yes to my purpose. So, but I said yes to it, Renata, in the middle, and you know the story, in the middle of me having the job again that I dreamed of since I was 7 years old. So back then I worked in the entertainment industry. So first I worked for Viacom's largest cable network. We had an outreach to over 89 million homes on a weekly basis. And then from there, I worked in a casting position working on the number one TV show on Fox. And then from there, I worked with an entertainment group, and what we produced generated over $12.6 billion a year. I'm sharing that with you because I want you to realize I was playing kind of big. And Renata, you know me, but those of you that don't know me, you need to know I was going to all the hot Hollywood parties, bumping elbows with all the stars. So I was living my dream. However, in the dark of the night when I was by myself, I started to feel tormented by that dream because I felt like something was missing. And I couldn't understand, how can you feel like that when I loved my job? It was everything I dreamed of. And yet there was a hole in my soul. And so in 1993, I realized there was a decision I had to make, but I had no idea what the heck the next thing would be and where I was going and what it could possibly be next. And so I think that's why so many people are having the great resignation, is because they know there's more. And many of you know there's more and you haven't taken the lead because you don't know what's next. So, in the middle of me feeling dazed and confused, because that's how I felt, because when I tried to talk to one of my girlfriends about how I felt, they kept saying stuff like, are you crazy? Do you realize the show you work on and the party we went to and the VIP lists were on? And I started to feel crazy because, again, I loved what I was doing. So as I prayed about it more and more, God was silent until one night when one of my good girlfriends said, let's go volunteer at this program at our church. And so that night, as I started working with young women, as their eyes lit up, my heart lit up. And I said, oh my God, this is the thing. But again, y'all, this was 1993. I had never heard of a coach. But for the first time in my life, my soul was alive like never before. So I think, to answer your question, I think where many people are is at this place of, I know there's more. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to go after it. Maybe some of you have this long list of all the accoutrement of being the success that you've always wanted. And so you're bumping up against perception and what is this thing that I should do next? And so all those things was where I was. And so to make a long story short, pretty much obviously I said yes to whatever that thing was because I wouldn't be here now. And so even after that, and I see you, JP, hey, even after that, some 17 years later, and I want you guys to get this. I started doing that thing and it was called coaching, but again, I didn't know it was called that. But some 17
Mhm.
years later, I had gotten to the place that I saw that vision that God dropped in my spirit. I realized now God was, listen, our purpose matriculates. God calls us to grow level to level to level. And I didn't realize then that what God was doing was taking my gift as a casting and production, and He was calling me to use it in a different arena. Well, here I was in that different arena, and I had again gotten to the place I dreamed of. And I'm gonna make it long story short, y'all, but I need you to get this because again, I could tell you some principles, but I want to show you how I lived the example of it. So, literally, some 17 years later, back then I had a for-profit and a nonprofit. So, in my nonprofit, I was working with African American teenage girls, like I did in that church that night. That the moment became a nonprofit. I had 10 chapters in 10 churches throughout the country. In my for-profit, because my girls started graduating and having what I call grown folks issues. Y'all know these are the issues we're talking about tonight. And really wanting to align their purpose with their paycheck. I had a max out coaching client roster, meaning I couldn't take another client. So I thought, let me write a book. 2010, I wrote a book thinking that I'll give the principles to women I can't take as a client. And yes, men, I serve you now too, but I started with women only. I give the principles to women I couldn't take as a client, and that would also be a fundraiser for my nonprofit. Well, when that book came out, I started getting invitations to speak all over the country. So here I was again doing the thing I knew, like I knew that that was the rumble that God was showing me in 2000, excuse me, in 1993. Here I'm in 2017. I had made it. However, I was only generating $13,000 a year. Now, look, Renata, you know this. I did not start my business to be running community service because 13,000 is less than the poverty level. So that's what I was pretty much doing. So I got into a place, and this is going to answer her question.
Mhm.
I was done. And I remember this. It was November 7th of 2010. So y'all know I had a daytime job because you can't eat on $13,000 and pay for your light bill and your internet and run a business. So my daytime job, I was an adjunct professor. And November 7th, 2010, I had that epiphany because I had just gotten home from another speaking weekend. And it was Sunday night, and my class was at 8 a.m. on Monday morning, my first class. And I realized that night I hadn't read the syllabus. I hadn't written a lecture note. I didn't even read the chapters in the books I told my students to read. And I was like, God, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired. I'm done. I was ready to quit. But I felt in conflict for wanting to quit because I knew it was my purpose. So I'm like, how can I want to quit? But this right here, this whole $13,000 and me having to work all these other jobs, this isn't working. So I said to God, listen, if this is you, you better show me something. And so to make an even longer story short, and I am coming to the end, y'all, I promise, but I want you to get this. I got invited to a conference. And literally, I was on a call just like this one where I heard about the conference. The conference cost 500. The conference was in California. I lived at the time in Boston. My plane ticket cost 500. My hotel cost 1,500 because it was 3 days. I had to stay there, so I couldn't afford it. Couldn't afford not to do it. I met my first coach at that conference. She cost 30,000. But I realized if I was going to do something different, I'd have to do two things. I'd have to learn some new tools. I'd have to risk it all to gain it all because the stuff I was doing wasn't working. Because what I realized I was doing is using what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Yeah, I was working extra hours on the weekend and I'm going to work 2 hours on Sunday and I'm going to work 3 hours on Saturday. Yeah, and expecting something different. Yeah, no. Doing the same thing, just taking longer hours.
Mhm.
So in working with that coach, I went from 13,000 to over 200,000 within 6 months because all she simply did was show me who I was. All the ways I was overlooking my gift, all the ways I was playing it small, just like you, Renata, where you don't realize all the value of the intellectual property that you have. And so here's what the purpose of me telling you my story. The great resignation, so many people are quitting their jobs or realizing their job doesn't fit anymore. If you don't get the strategy you need to move from where you are into your next, You will either fail miserably like I did, or you'll stay stuck where you are because you can't figure out how to go after your next.
Mhm. What I loved about that is you said you got a coach. So you got a coach instead of a mentor. Like I know you're going to break that down because that's something people are like, I just need a mentor. I don't need a coach. So can you
Right.
explain that?
Yes. So, so what's interesting is because you and I have worked together for over a year and a half, I could be your mentor now. Let me tell you why, because I know your business. So I
Mhm.
need you guys to get this. People come up to me all the time that don't know me. Oh, can you be my mentor? No, I don't know you. I don't know your business. And it's irresponsible for me to say yes to you because a mentor pretty much is going to fit you in when they can. Right? Sorry, my allergies are acting crazy. They're going to fit you in where they can. Whereas a coach is a contractual relationship saying, I'm going to meet you every other week and we're working toward a predictable, or it could be once a month, whatever the relationship is, but we're working to a predictable result. Again, a mentor, you might meet maybe once every 6 months, but you can't get to a result meeting them whenever. And usually it's not an hour, it might be 15 minutes. Let me run something past you real quick. So a mentor is someone you already have a relationship with because if you're going to run something past them real quick, they need to already know you and know your business. If you want to grow your business, you need someone that's going to be with you at a specific time over a period of time to get to that end that you really want to get to. Big
Right.
difference.
A huge difference. Now, I know when I came to you, I was a little concerned that there were so many people doing the same thing that I was doing in that space. What
Mhm.
would you say to somebody that's, is not sure if they can do it because there's a lot of people that's already swimming in their space?
Well, I love the example you use. So I'm gonna ask you to share the example. But here's the thing I want to say before she gives her example: is yes, there are other people that do what you do, but nobody can do it like you. So you've got to understand there are a group of people that will resonate with you. So when you stop trying to be a second-rate version of somebody else, because if you're trying to be like somebody else, one of you is not necessary, right? So when you start to realize who you be and you start to craft out. So if I use this again as an example to make it tangible. So there's a couple of things you get with me. So obviously I love casting and producing because that's, I've always been that girl since I was 7. My friends from elementary school tell you I used to produce when we were playing on the playground, right? But in addition to that, you get one part Jesus, you get a little bit of ratchet. Yes, I say ratchet because I like ratchet music. You get a little bit of comedy, even though it could be corny comedy, but that's who I am. So some people will say, "Oh, you're a lot." And those people I'm not a good fit for. But the people go, "Oh, I love her." Right?
Mhm.
It's because I am you and you are me and we're a great fit. So you've got to understand there will be people that resonate with you that are looking for you and there'll be people that are too much. That's because they're not meant to work with you.
Mhm. Because there's handpicked clients. And the example that Dr. Nicole is referring to is I live in Brooklyn, New York, and it's not uncommon to have the same type of business very close to each other. And there's 4 nail salons that's near me. Now I get the first two, Nicole. I really do. But the third and the fourth, I'm like, wow. But understand this, they're not worried about each other because they got different price points, they got different clientele, different ambience. And every time I pass by each and every one of them, they have clients.
Right.
When there's handpicked clients, you want to talk to that. Like, as long as you can get clear of who it is that you're supposed to serve, they're there waiting for you to be the answer.
Yep. And here's the thing that's interesting too. How many times now that I say this, you guys are going to realize this. You see a McDonald's and a Wendy's right next to each other, or a McDonald's and a Burger King right next to each other. And some people love McDonald's and some people love Wendy's or love Burger King. The reason why that franchise can come in the second one, whoever's a second on that block, is because they know that there are people that are interested in fast food because that other one is there. But they're two different markets. And so you don't take away from the other market, but what you do is you pick up the people that are interested in who you be that serve and you serve a similar market, but they're two different kind of results. There are some people that love a fillet of fish, and there's some people that love whatever they serve at Burger King. You tell which one I go to, right? So, and there's some people that love whatever they serve at Wendy's. My husband loves Wendy's, and we fight because I want to go to McDonald's. He wants to go to Wendy's. I'm like, you get out of the car, you walk across to the Wendy's, right? But I need you to understand that's what makes it so good when you stand in who you are and don't worry about the competition.
Mhm, mhm.
That's what differentiates you from everybody else.
Now, I loved how you said, those that when we're dealing with the great resignation is because people they feel unfulfilled at their jobs.
Mhm.
Now, does that mean you suggest that people should start quitting their jobs? Or
No.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? People would say all the time to me, I'm stepping out on faith. I'm like, oh, don't blame that on God, because God doesn't tell you to have stupid faith. I said stupid and faith in the same sense. I did. Because God wants you to have strategic, wise faith. If you read any story in the Bible, God literally strategizes with all the fathers and mothers of faith to give them strategy. So, what do I mean by that? So, I always call, now listen, you guys, I just told my story, those of you that heard it from the beginning. When I quit my job, I didn't quit until I had predictable revenue. So I stayed at that adjunct professor for years. And after a while, it became such a bane of my existence because I wanted to do my job full time. But here's the thing, I started calling it my investor. Because how am I going to pay for my internet, my lights? How am I going to eat? And I'm building my business. So to make that even more concrete, so let's say your salary is here. Research your business, just your income, not even your salary, is going to be here. So when you get your income from your business to the same place your salary is, it doesn't mean you quit because you got to invest back into your business for it to continue to grow. You don't quit your daytime job, your investor, until you go past that and you know the amount of money you need to generate to pay for all the things you got to do in your business and pay yourself. That's when you quit. That's when you're being smart. And the reason you step on faith is you're having faith that you're going to keep generating that revenue. That's the faith you step on. But you're being strategic because you know month over month, quarter over quarter, this is what I need to make in order to do my marketing, my sales, my back end, and what I need to pay myself. And this is therefore what I need to make. And when you see that happening, when you quit, that's stepping out on faith.
Mhm. Now, you mentioned about you having your income, that you stayed at this job for a while. That's why it's important to not look at somebody. You're seeing their end result, but unless
Mhm.
you're like really walking side by side with them, you really don't know how long it took them to matriculate to get there. Because, like you said, when you guys started, you was at $13,000, right? But a lot of people can't say they knew you back then at that point. They're seeing
Mhm.
today.
But
So,
even the people that knew me back then would never have thought I was making 13,000 because again, I had 10 chapters in 10 states. I had a full coaching client roster. So I looked like I was big baller shot caller, but I was little baby, not even doing nothing barely, right? Community service. Because I looked successful on paper. That's why and I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I get passionate about this because my allergies are acting crazy. So many people are Facebook famous and broke. And then people look at their Facebook or Instagram and think, oh, well, so and so is doing great. Well, her pictures look great,
mhm,
does not mean that the finances are coming in just because she has this all on lock. And then there's something called seed time and harvest. What I realized is that 17 years, and I didn't have to take me 17 years, and I'll tell you why it took me 17 in a minute, but let me say seed time and harvest is God plants a seed. You've got to sow into that seed. That seed is your purpose. God is done. He's not going to keep on doing anything. He did his part. He's looking to see what will you do with what he already gave you. The time and really you sowing into that seed is all the ways you're growing that gift, all the ways you're putting back into that gift, all the ways you're investing in that gift so that you're giving God a return on his investment in you. And when he sees the return is when the harvest comes. Everybody's harvest is different. Everybody's sowing is different. And so you've got to realize that literally for me, I think the reason why God allowed it to take 17 years, because it didn't have to take 17. Number one, my ego was in the way. I kept thinking I should know how to do this. I have a master's degree. I was teaching not at one prestigious university. I taught at two. I taught at USC for almost 5 years. Then I met my husband. We moved to Boston. Then I didn't even call Boston University. The dean at USC called Boston University and they called and offered me a job. I'm like, how do you know I was here? So I'm not saying it to brag, but I'm kind of letting you know I was kind of, good at what I did. So if I'm this prestigious, I'm like, well, how come my business isn't taking off? So I kept thinking, okay, it's going to. Let me just keep doing the same thing. Yeah, not smart. Ego was in the way. It wasn't until I got tools. So I think God he allowed my ego to stay in the way until I was willing to listen. When I listened, when I said, okay, Lord, I'm done. I need your help, is when he put that coach in my path. And even then, I had to trust God, not my coach, not me. I had to trust God. When God said, it's her, I'm going to put her in your path. And he said to me, take what she offers. He knew he had to say that to me because it was 30,000. And he knew I'd be like, heck to no, I can't afford it. And I couldn't. But I trusted God. And I'm gonna tell you, had I not trusted God, knees not gonna teeth chattering, and I put on my credit card and I was like, please let the deposit go through on my credit card. Okay, I'm keeping it real, y'all. I was like, Lord Jesus, let the deposit go through. And literally, I did not know in me taking that big risk that I would make 200,000 in the next 6 months. I had no idea. But it's really when you say yes in the face of fear and you trust God in the middle of it that everything shifts.
It does. And so, I guess what this leads up to is working smarter and not harder. And so, just because I know that you're a big proponent of having multiple streams of income, but it doesn't mean you have to work multiple streams of jobs. Can you tell us your thoughts on multiple streams of income?
And you shouldn't. So when you work multiple jobs, that's called hustle. Now, one of our colleagues would be mad at me that I call it hustle, but she's not here, so I'm a roll with it. So what I mean by that is I had a graphic designer that was working with me, and she's like, Nicole, I think I need your help, and I think I want to start being a travel agent. I was like, for what? I need to make money. I said, that's called hustle. You are not, God didn't create you or craft you to be a travel agent. Why are you doing that? Instead of you figuring out how do you take this gift you already have and create multiple streams around that. There's a difference. So it's not quick, fast money, like I'm gonna make it overnight, which is no such thing. So it's really being clear on how do you take your gift. And here's the thing, y'all. So going back to when I just told you my story that I had a max out coaching client roster, that was 5 clients. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real. And it was 5 clients because I had a daytime job. I was a new bonus mom. I had all this stuff going on. I couldn't do more than 5 clients. So when my coach started to show me and started showing me, Nicole, wait a minute, you told me you worked in casting and you worked in producing and you used to have a consultant practice and you went into businesses and developed programs. Hello, isn't that your gift? Why are you not doing it in your own business? Duh. So what I began to realize is I had a natural propensity. I could see people's gifts. I could see how you can develop programs. Matter of fact, my best friend one of my best friends, I have 2, is a image consultant. She asked me to go to this event with her. I said, I'll only go if you have a style suite. Because I can see the way you can make money. She was like, really? That's not what I called you for. I said, I know, but I can't go and leave money on the table because girl, I know people need you. And so for me, it was really, really taking the time to get clear and really stop limiting myself and playing small because that's what I did for years, Renata. And what I see so many of my clients do is play small and limit what's possible for them because they can't see it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, when you talk about playing small, because I know me, I was living in survival mode, getting in my way, all of that. But all of that for me, and I'm sure for some of the audience that's listening tonight, it kind of bumps up against imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Look, it bumps up against 2 things. So one, again, hustle mentality. So me, there was a time that I hated coaching because I was taking everybody. Whoever came, I was like, yeah, I can do that. Because there's a lot of things I can do, but can and should is 2 different things. We talk about this all the time. So, and Renata and I have this in common where I'd be on the phone with a client and I'd be Googling what they asked me. Now, first of all, if you're Googling when a client is on the phone with you, you have no business teaching it. It means you don't know it. But I wouldn't turn money down because I was in hustle mode and I hated coaching because I was outside of my giftedness. So you've got to be clear on what is that thing. And then when you start getting clear on it and you start to create a methodology around it, it helps you. Number one, people start saying something different about you, Nicole. You've changed. Yeah, I have changed. I'm standing in my full power. I'm living in my light. So it really shifts you and the people start coming to you because then that light is shining. So I think for me, it was getting out of that hustle, getting out of that, let me try to make quick, fast money, which never works, or it works for a minute, but then after a while, either you hate it or the people realize that something is off with her. Yeah, something's off. I'm doing stuff I have no business doing. That's what's off. Mm-hmm. So I think it was really having that epiphany and realizing that I was so out of my league and I had no business doing a lot of the stuff that I was doing back then.
Right. It's getting clear on your wheelhouse and owning, like you taught us, dominate your lane. Your lane, because we all have it.
And then even with that imposter syndrome, I didn't answer your question. Imposter syndrome. So here's what happens. And this is, and Renata and I have talked about this a lot. So here's what happens. When you're great at something, you think that everybody else is great at it too, because it comes to you effortlessly. So it's like, oh, that thing, oh, that's easy. So you start paying people for it. You think you're being an imposter because you think, oh, everybody else can do it too, which is not true. And even if people have a piece of it, nobody does it like you. So when you start to see, and this is one of the exercises I work my clients through, when you start to see the value of what you have, you're blown away that people actually need it, want it, have been looking for it, and will pay for it.
That part. Mm-hmm. That is true, so true. So let's talk about what you got coming up. Because I met you last year at this event and you're hosting it again this year. And it's changed my life because it's given me clarity. I love what I do. It doesn't even seem like work. It feels like I'm just playing and getting paid at it.
Yes.
So can
And
you
I
tell
love watching you do it because you're so powerful in your lane. And when you stand in it and you start to really dominate it, you love it so much you don't feel like you're working. So that event is called Be the Answer. Let me tell you why I did Be the Answer. So those of you that were here at the beginning, you heard me tell the story of me going to that event and meeting my coach. Well, literally, my eyelashes acted crazy because my allergies acted crazy, which is normal. So when I went to that event, now how many times have you guys gone to the event and a bunch of speakers are speaking? They're all good, don't get me wrong, but they all have different information. You can't figure out how they go together. So when I got to this side of my broke to bankable journey, what I began to realize is God was showing me that He wanted me to be the answer and really stand in the gap. And what I mean by that is my event is not a bunch of speakers speaking at you. It's a coaching intensive where it's me and you in those 2 days. So you're not getting a bunch of information that doesn't go together. You're getting a strategy step by step that helps you see what you need in the 4 areas that you must have in your business for it to be profitable. So those 4 areas are, so I spell out more, by the way, because I'm not coming for who you already are. I'm coming for who you have not yet become. And so that means there is more of you. And by the way, if you were done, you'd be sitting next to Jesus. And if you get there before me, save me a seat. I'm just saying, right? So that means you wouldn't be here if y'all didn't get that. So more. So the M of more is mastery. It's one thing for you to know your purpose, it's another thing for you to master it. So you have to have a purpose and methodology. So we walk through what is the methodology around your purpose and literally understanding the niche. Renata said this a few minutes ago, dominating in your lane. You can't be in all 4 of the lanes when you run in a race. You need to be in one lane. And many of you guys are trying to be in every lane and it's not working. It's not working because you're not dominating in the one lane God created you to dwell in. Then the second part of the first day, we go into O, which is optimization. So how do you optimize that? So I would call that tribe building. What most people don't tell you is the most important part of your business is tribe building, is its visibility, is marketing. Because listen, only 2 to 3% convert. What do I mean by that? So when you are looking to actually convert people to a sale, when you're pulling a tribe in, you need to make sure you're talking to the right people because only 2% convert, you need to make sure that 2% is sound that comes from the group, the tribe that you'll be recruiting to. So the most valuable tool you can use to really build a tribe is telling your story. So I teach you how to tell your story. In addition to, and by the way, I teach you how to story sell, not story tell. So in addition to all of that, I'm also going to walk you through all the other methodologies and ways out there, social media, all the things that people tell you should do. We're going to talk about that too. Because listen, there's no cookie cutter. God didn't use a cookie cutter when He made you. So stop trying to be like everybody else and be who God called you to be and dwell in the places that fit with your gift. And so we walk through that the second part of the first day. Now, what I'm going to tell you the second part, or excuse me, the first part of the second day is the moment everybody wants, which is how do you create multiple streams of revenue? So I do walk you through an exercise where we create 6 streams of revenue. But I'm going to tell you, before we get to that, if you don't know your purpose and you don't know the mastery of it, and you're not mastering it and dominating in your lane, if you're not really creating visibility strategy, you won't ever get to the revenue because you won't have anybody that's going to pay you and they won't know the predictable result that you get them to. So they won't even be interested in you. So I literally, and I love when people say, you can't help me. I love a challenge. I love a challenge. I've had lawyers that have come and said that. I've had product entrepreneurs. And by the way, if you come and you're a product entrepreneur, you need to be willing to take your intellectual property and look at how you can take that to grow a business. What do I mean by that? Or grow revenue, I should say. So I had a product entrepreneur who had a lipstick applicator line come a couple years ago. And she said, oh, you can't help me. Yeah, I just told you I love a challenge. So I said to her, so tell me, when people call you, what do they pick your brain about? Oh, she said, oh, manufacturing. 3 streams of revenue we created around manufacturing. And she already had other streams. So I need you to understand, we really look at that the second day. And then the second part of the second day is your execution, which is your E. Because again, what difference does it make if you spend all this time and you don't know how to move it forward? We look at your 30 or 60 or 90-day plan. And in between all of what I just told you, I am coaching you, I am teaching you, I am stopping to see if you have questions because I want to really make sure that you're able to implement everything I'm walking you through. You get a swag box we're mailing to your house, which will have your workbook in it. And so I'm saying, turn the page this in your workbook, and we're working through it. So this really is an intensive where it's end-to-end coaching, teaching, and implementing everything you need, Plus, there's other gifts that you get. Those of you that will enroll to enjoy to join us, you also get the Rich in My Niche Masterclass, which starts the mindset. So again, I'm not coming for who you already are. So there's some mindset shifts you need to make in order to go after the next level that I am coming for you at Be the Answer.
Mhm. And what I love about your event is you're not coming there like you're just sitting down, at a conference where you're just like bored out of your mind. You got to come ready to take notes. And I'm not saying collecting notes just to create another notebook full of notes with no
Mm-hmm.
action, just a good message and on to the next notebook. This is not that type of event.
And look, and I'm looking at you, so I can see you. You can see me. So it's not a typical Zoom event. Now, I just told you my undergraduate degrees in TV and film, so it's full on production event. So you get a little bit of Jesus, you get a whole lot of coach, you get a little ratchet. I said it because we dance, we have dance breaks because I need you moving. So we have a lot of fun. Networking is included, but the majority of our time is me coaching you. The thing that I love, and I'll be honest with you, when COVID happened, and God, at first I was going to cancel this event because I did it live every year. And when God said, nope, you can't cancel it. And I said, but Lord, I can see when people are stuck in the room and I can coach them. And he said, trust me. That's all you're going to say to me, Lord, is trust you. That's it. Now, y'all can tell by already that I'm a little sassy. So literally my first virtual event, this is like my sixth one. I was blown away that I could still see when people are stuck. I can almost feel it in my spirit. And I will ask you, Renata, do you have a question? Even if you haven't asked me a question, I can either see it in your face or I can just feel it that I need to ask you something. And so my intention is that you do not leave still questioning all the questions you have about moving your business forward wherever you are in your journey, that you get everything you need and you know the steps you need to take to move it forward now.
What I also love about your event is it's an opportunity to be able to speak to a coach and ask laser focused questions. And you're able
Mhm.
to like help us when we get stuck and move us out of it. And I
Mhm.
love that we can banter with you like that.
And the thing I love about group experiences is someone else will ask a question that you don't think to ask. And then it'll trigger a question. The other thing I love about group experiences, and I can say this because Renata and her business bestie, Michelle, met at Be the Answer. And I see them do so, and they don't even live in the same city. I've seen them go like meet up and do masterminds. And I'm always so excited. And they met at Be the Answer. And it was virtual, by the way. So literally, I foster that because entrepreneurship can be lonely. At the time when I started, my friends were not entrepreneurs. Now my two besties are both entrepreneurs. They've seen me do it and they've invested. And so literally now I have friends. But when I first started, I had no one to talk to. So it's so important when you're going through to have that accountability partner, that mastermind. So you'll meet people that attend that also will foster your learning in the virtual room as well.
Right. And I love that. Like she said, I met my bestie here, my business bestie. And there's nothing like having support along the way and having community because
Yeah.
sometimes your friends, your family, they can't relate. Not that they don't want to support, they just, like she said, they don't understand. So they can't give you the type of feedback or responses that you may be looking for. So I love
Right.
that you can come there and get connected to other like-minded individuals. It's
Hmm.
really, really
And
good.
think about it like this, when God drops something in your spirit, whether He gives you a vision, whether you have a thought, whether you have ideas, it's like you're pregnant with this purpose. And those of you that have had a baby, I have not, but roll with me, rock with me on this example. I have phenomenal bonus children, but I have not birthed a baby. But when you're pregnant, the first trimester, nobody sees it but you. 9 times out of 10, no, you don't, not even showing. And so when you tell people you're pregnant, you're like, where? I can't see it. And that's what happens when you have a business and you're just starting, especially if you're doing something that's so far outside of who you be or who they thought you were. It is who you've always been, by the way. And so literally what happens is you got to push that baby out. Nobody can push it but you. Some of you have been walking around with a dead baby in you because you haven't pushed it out. Hello. So it's time to allow that baby to take root and to grow so that you can be the answer that you were born to be in this world, which is why I call the event Be the Answer, by the way, because there are people that need you, are
Mhm.
waiting for you, are praying for that answer in you, and you being selfish and thinking, oh, well, it's not my time, or I don't have enough money, or whatever excuse you're going to give. Yeah. Tell God that excuse to see what happens with God when you say that.
Mhm. Mhm. So I'm going to put up here on the screen. I had it going before, but let me put it back up. The event is coming up, so you have time to register because, like Nicole said, there's a swag box, and I
Yeah.
love. I still got. I don't have it near me, but I still use some of the things that was in that box, and so it's
And here's the thing too, y'all. So you get a workbook in that swag box, yes, but I give you some gifts. So if you want to guarantee you get your swag box on time, then register by Tuesday because we're going to start shipping out on Wednesday. Now, let me say this other thing. Now, Renata has a gift for at least 10 of y'all. So if you reach out to Renata, she'll tell you how. I've given her a code for $100 off, but you've got to reach out and tell her you're interested. Also, those of you that have questions, because you're like, I'm not sure, ask the question. I have not given Renata a script, but she'll tell you the truth because she's been at Be the Answer. We've been working together for the last year and a half. Can you believe it's been a year and a half together, Renata? And she can tell you her experience at the event and just being with me in general.
yeah. You guys, you can't expect new results with old behavior.
Yeah.
You got to start investing in yourself, and you can't sit on the sideline and have the shoulda, coulda, woulda, because that's not going to get you anywhere. Because Nicole talks about our DNA. You want to end it with that, Nicole, about their DNA?
Yes. So you have distinct natural ability. You know what's interesting is a couple years ago, guy kind of dropped that in my spirit, and so I started looking up DNA because I'm not a scientist. And what I find is interesting is we each have 2.4 billion cells in us, but no two of us have the same molecular makeup. So God was really intentional with what He gifted you with. And so God invested DNA in you. What's God's return on His investment in you?
Mm. Now,
So my invitation is for you to come in the room so that you can give God a great return on his investment. Yay, Joy. Joy said, I'll be in touch. I know that's right. My intention is to give you the tools because listen, this is my calling. I think God let me take 17 years to get this so that I'll be so passionate that it doesn't take you 17 months to get it. Number one. But number two, I realize now that the reason God had me take so long is so he can ingrain in me all the tools I need to be able to teach you how to move your purpose forward.
and all you have to do is get in a room. Just get in a room, and I promise you, you're gonna leave different. You're gonna feel different. She's gonna really stir you up, but it's gonna be all for the good. And she will tell you, you will come empty or come empty, as she said. I'll
Yep.
let you say it. You say it best.
Yeah, I come in, you come empty. See, I'm about to mess it up too. You come empty, I'm coming full. So all you gotta do is get your swag box and bring your pen and be sitting there ready. Get your snacks, get your juice, whatever you want around you. I'm coming to pour everything I have into you. It's my assignment, it's my privilege to do it. And so if you're ready to go after all that God has for you, whether you know exactly what it is or you know you have this stirring in you and you need just know you need direction, or you've been in business for years and you just aren't making predictable revenue, all you got to do is get a seat. The rest is up to me.
Mhm. And guys, we're getting ready to start soon, quarter 4. So this is such a great way to jumpstart quarter 4, which is going to usher you into 2023. It's not too early to get started, and you're never too old. So don't let that be, some of the things that's going through your head that I'm too old. It's all right. No, you're not. Get in the room. That's all you have to do. So again, like she said, if you're interested in this, reach out to me. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer because I remember what that felt like. And so allow me to hold that space to be able to answer any questions.
And by the way, Renata is now on my what I call my purpose squad. So the purpose squad are a group of women that I've been blessed to coach that are in the virtual room as well. And the reason I have them there is say you want to ask me a question and you're a little shy. Well, if you know Renata, you'll reach out to her during the event, and that's fine too. Because I wanted it to be surround sound, but in addition to that, we've been praying for you over the last year. And so I know what it feels like to be led and called and scared at the same time. To not have any place to rest your head and you're scared to say it out of your mouth, but like God is calling you. That's exactly where I was, but I didn't know where to go. I wanted to be that one place where people can rest their head. So if that's you, I look forward to serving you, holding a space with you with Renata, and creating a community for you to actually be able to do the thing that it's time for you to do.
Well, Nicole, I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for being my business coach and for helping me move my business from where it's at or where it was to where it's at, where I'm enjoying it. And, it took somebody like you to see my blind spots, right? But I had to get out of the way. I had to say, let me put my pride aside. I don't know everything, and that's okay. I'm not supposed to know everything. And
Right.
so I just want to publicly say thank you so much for holding the space for me.
Well, I'm proud of you. I'm excited, and this is only the beginning for you. So I'm excited to see where you go. Listen, my clients become my mentees, right? Even though we all are probably about the same age. Even though I know I'm older than most of them, but still, they become like my mentees, and I get excited when I see you all grow. So Renata, I know this is only the beginning for you. I watch you, and I see you playing full out, and I'm just proud of all you are. Thank you for letting me serve you. Thank you for holding this space for others to come behind you, and those of you that are coming. I look forward to bringing you into the folds as we start the work at Be the Answer.
All right, you guys have a good night. And remember, reach out. This is your season. Have a good night.
Bye, y'all.